Next item on the docket here is from techexplore.com. Here's something. Artificial skin gives robots a sense of touch. Okay. We tend to take our sense of touch for granted in everyday settings, but it is vital for our ability to interact with our surroundings. This is kind of useless premise. Here we go. A new artificial skin developed at Caltech can now give robots the ability to sense temperature, pressure, and even toxic chemicals through a simple touch. That's fascinating. This new skin technology is part of a robotic platform that integrates the artificial skin with a robotic arm and sensors that attach to human skin. A machine learning system that interfaces the two allows the human user to control the robot with their own movements while receiving feedback through their own skin. Oh, it's haptic feedback. The multimodal robotic sensing platform, dubbed MBot, was developed in the lab of Wei Gao, Caltech's assistant professor of medical engineering, investigator with Heritage Medical Research Institute. Okay, it aims to give humans more precise control over robots while also protecting the humans from potential hazards. This is fascinating. I'm glad that we have this. This is, yeah, that's exactly what I thought it basically would look like here with this picture here. So you have a standalone prosthetic hand or like forearm kind of situation, robotically controlled, and there are like sensors in the guy's arm that are designed in such a way that it takes the nerve movements that you would need in order to like move your hand or fingers or whatever, and it translates those sensors, what the sensors are picking up in his arm, and it's translating over into movements for this robotic device that's right next to him. This is very Iron Man 3 that's happening here, where like you have subdermally implanted sort of sensors, or like or topically placed. I can't really make out what's happening here with this image here. If you look really closely, you can see on his forearm, in the center of his forearm, there are these two dark colored rectangles sort of thing. There may be a third one. His sleeve is partially obscuring, but there are sensors that are visible, outwardly visible on his forearm. And it looks like it looks like that's what's basically being used to provide the information, the movement information for the robot, and some sense of haptic feedback or whatever, like from however it's being moved, I guess. I'm just basically sort of spitballing here based on what I've read here and based on what the picture is conveying. Let me see here. A side-by-side comparison of a human hand and a robotic hand reveals glaring differences. That's pretty much common sense. Let's see. Embedded within that hydrogel. What hydrogel? Wait a second. We skipped over something. I'm sorry. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Nope. Stop. Freaking YouTube. Come on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I guess the artificial skin is kind of what that's. I guess that's what that's called. The hydrogel. That must be the artificial skin. They didn't really introduce the name of it, or maybe I just glossed over it too many times and it didn't catch it quite right. But embedded within that hydrogel, this is back into the story here, are the sensors that give the artificial skin its ability to detect the world around it. These sensors are literally printed onto the skin in the same way that an inkjet printer applies text to a sheet of paper. Fascinating. Huh. After printing a scaffolding of silver nanoparticle wires, the researchers can then print layers of micrometer scale sensors, wow, that's tiny, that can be designed to detect a variety of things. The fact that the sensors are printed makes it quicker and easier for the lab to design and try out new kinds of sensors. Yeah, but like, how do you handle the problem of like making sure that removal and reapplication is done like effectively and efficiently without sort of burning through too many materials? Yeah, so this is a patch that's applied topically, and it's specially printed and it's applied. Yeah, this part of the system makes use of additional printed parts. So it's electrodes fastened to the human operator's forearm. Electrodes are similar to those that are used to measure brain waves, positioned to sense the electrical signals generated by the operator's muscles as they move their hand and wrist. Yeah, this is fascinating. So this actually gives me like new hope for some rather groundbreaking applications in the field of like prosthesis. If you've like if you're dealing with somebody, a patient who's lost a limb or something basically, or I guess in this case we're talking about arms, that sort of thing. I mean, how do you more accurately translate the user or the patient's intended movements and gestures into something that a robotic prosthesis can more efficiently and effectively emulate. That's always sort of fascinated me about this kind of technology, and it's really interesting to see all the strides that we're able to make here, especially when you put it in that context of like helping, you know, amputee patients. But then also, as the story was talking about, there are applications above and beyond that, like disposing hazardous chemicals. The story was mentioning at the top, toxic chemicals going into areas that a human, you know, a human hand or human skin, human tissue can't come into contact with safely. You know, this is really good news. I like this story. Let's move on.